Are you struggling to fetch records from your MySQL database because you're unsure how to handle null and default values? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into a common issue that many developers face. I totally get it. It can be really frustrating when you want to filter out records but aren't sure how to account for nulls and default values. This is a common challenge, and I'm here to help you navigate it. Here's the specific question we're addressing. One user asked, how can I fetch records where the column value is not null and not equal to the default value? They provided a query, but were concerned about future changes to the default value. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's the issue here? When you set a default value in MySQL, it can change over time. If you hard-code that value in your query, you might miss records if the default changes. We need a more flexible solution. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a powerful tip that will make your queries more dynamic and adaptable. To address the user's concern about fetching records where the column value is not null and not equal to a default value, we can use a more flexible approach. First, we need to identify the default value dynamically from the table's schema. Next, the user can store the retrieved default value in a variable. This allows for a more dynamic query that adapts to any future changes in the default value. Now the user can construct a query that checks for records where the column value is not null and not equal to dynamically retrieved default value. This ensures that the query remains valid even if the default value changes. Finally, the user can execute this query to fetch the desired records. This method provides a flexible solution that adapts to changes in the default value without requiring manual updates to the query. Fun fact, did you know that null in databases is not the same as zero or an empty string? It's a unique state that represents the absence of a value. Understanding this can really help you in your queries. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by another user involves using the default function in MySQL. This method checks if the column value is either null or equal to the default value. The query they suggest is to use the ifNull function combined with default. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. An alternative approach suggested by another user is to use the rows.count function. This method helps you determine if the table contains null values or if all entries are the same. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative solution provided by another user involves using the default function in MySQL. This approach allows you to check if a column value is not null and also not equal to its default value. The SQL query looks like this. Select star from group table where column name is not null and column name is not equal to default of column name. That's all on that answer. Let's take a look at another one. An alternative approach involves using the information schema columns table to dynamically find default values. This method ensures flexibility if default values change in the future. Here's that powerful tip I promised. Always use the information schema for dynamic queries. This will save you from future headaches when default values change. And there you have it. You now have a flexible solution for fetching records in MySQL that accounts for null and default values. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.